Dear listener, we will continue our exciting story with part 2 of the video. If you haven't watched the beginning of today's story, it's here on the channel, in the previous video. And for the first time since arriving at Wakefield Manor, Mary didn't look safe. She looked terrified. The news of Rafael Mendez's return spread through Wakefield Manor like wildfire through dry grass. Mary spent the night awake, holding Anna Beatrice against her chest, trembling at every noise. Aunt Bethy stayed with her, offering lemon balm tea and words of comfort that seemed insufficient before the terror in the young woman's eyes. Augustus didn't sleep any better. He spent the night in his office planning, thinking through all possibilities. Rafael Mendez had legal rights over the daughter, according to the laws of Virginia. A father could claim his offspring, even if illegitimate, unless it could be proven he was unworthy or had formally abandoned the child. At dawn, Augustus summoned Caleb. "I need you to go to the township, discreetly. Find out everything about this Rafael, where he's staying, what he's saying, who he's talking to. And see if you can find someone from Riverside who can testify about his character, about how he abandoned Mary." "Already done, sir," Caleb responded with a crooked smile. "I sent 2 trusted men last night. They should return with information by noon." Augustus felt a wave of gratitude for the old overseer. "What would I do without you, Caleb?" "You'd probably get into less trouble, Colonel," he responded with dark humor. "But life would be much duller." The information arrived before expected. Caleb's men returned with disturbing news. Rafael Mendez was indeed at the township, staying at the main inn. He told a moving story about how his fiancée had fled when she discovered she was pregnant, ashamed that they hadn't married yet. He said he searched desperately for her to do what was right and give his name to the child. "That Portuguese is a liar," spat one of the men, a worker named Anthony. "But he speaks well, knows how to convince." There are already people in the township feeling sorry for him, thinking the young woman Mary was cruel to flee. Worse still, Rafael had discovered that a young woman with a newborn was at Wakefield Manor. It hadn't been difficult, rumors had been running for weeks. He was just waiting for the right moment to appear. "And there's more," added Caleb grimly. "He's accompanied. Brought 2 toughs with him. Says they're security, but they look more like thugs." Augustus clenched his jaw. Rafael wasn't planning to simply ask for Anna Beatrice back. He was prepared to take her by force if necessary. "Double the guards at the plantation gates," Augustus ordered. "No one enters without my personal authorization. And arm some of the trusted men. Nothing ostentatious, but I want to be prepared." It was that same afternoon that Rafael Mendez finally appeared. Augustus was in the library when he heard the commotion, raised voices, the neighing of horses. He stood and went to the front porch, where he found Caleb blocking the entry of 3 men. The one in the middle was undoubtedly Rafael Mendez. He was about 25 years old, handsome in a studied way, dark hair combed with pomade, well-trimmed mustache, expensive but slightly worn clothes. His eyes, however, were cold, a gambler's eyes, a con man's. "Colonel Augustus Wakefield?" Rafael asked with a heavy Portuguese accent, removing his hat in a gesture of false courtesy. "I am Rafael Mendez and I've come to get what is mine." "What is yours?" Augustus repeated, slowly descending the stone steps. "Be more specific, Mr. Mendez." "My daughter. I know the mother is here, Mary. Poor thing must have been confused after giving birth. She ran from me, but I've come to get her. I want to do what's right, give my name to the child." "How interesting," Augustus said with a dangerously calm voice. "Because the version I heard is quite different. I heard you're a man who seduced an innocent young woman, got her pregnant, and then fled like a coward when she needed you." Rafael's mask slipped for an instant, revealing anger, but he quickly recomposed himself. "Misunderstandings, Colonel. You know how women are, dramatic. We had a lover's quarrel. I needed to travel on business. When I returned, she had disappeared. "Liar," said a trembling but firm voice. Everyone turned. Mary stood in the house doorway, pale but erect. Aunt Betty was behind her, a protective hand on her shoulder. "Mary," Raphael exclaimed, stepping forward. Caleb immediately interposed. "My love, what joy to see you. And where is our little daughter?" "Don't you dare call her ours," Mary said, her voice gaining strength. "You didn't want to know about her when you found out I was pregnant. You called me a liar, a loose woman. You said the child wasn't yours." I was angry, confused. I didn't know what I was saying. Raphael tried to appear repentant, but his eyes remained cold. "But now I know. I want to marry you, Mary. Give our name to the girl. Be a family. I want nothing from you. I never wanted." Mary raised her chin. "And Anna Beatrice doesn't need you either." "Anna Beatrice?" Raphael smiled. "So it's a girl. Perfect." His smile became calculating. "And I'm sorry, Mary, but the law is on my side. I'm the father. I have rights over the child." "You abandoned that child before she was even born," Augustus intervened. "You spread lies about her mother, destroyed her reputation. And now you come claiming her. Why? Money? You think I'll pay for you to disappear?" Raphael stared at him. And for a moment, the mask fell completely. "That's exactly it, Colonel. I see you're a perceptive man. I have debts, need funds. And I hear you're generous, especially with young ladies in distress." The tone was insinuating, disgusting. "Get off my property," Augustus said, his voice low but loaded with threat. "Now. Not without my daughter." Raphael took a step forward, his two thugs accompanying. "That child is mine. And even if the law gives me some technical right, I swear to God I won't let you get near her." Raphael gave another step forward. "You're going to stop me, Colonel? That would be kidnapping. I can take this case to the judge." "Please do," Augustus said with a cold smile. "I would love to tell Judge Harrison, who happens to be a longtime friend, about your activities in Riverside. About the money you stole, the merchandise you sold without having, the loans you never paid. I have witnesses ready to testify." It was a partial bluff. Augustus had some information but not all the evidence he claimed. But it worked. Raphael hesitated, confidence wavering. "Besides," Augustus continued, "Mary is under my protection. Any action against her will be considered an action against me. And I, Mr. Mendez, have much more influence in this region than a Portuguese fugitive merchant." The silence that followed was tense, charged. Raphael's thugs looked nervously between their employer and Augustus. Caleb and several other plantation workers had approached, forming a silent but intimidating wall. Finally, Raphael backed down. "This isn't over, Colonel. I'll return with legal authority. We'll see then who has more influence." "I'll be waiting," Augustus responded. Raphael and his men mounted their horses and departed, but not before Raphael cast one last venomous look at Mary. "You'll regret this," he said quietly, loud enough for her to hear. "Both of you will." When they finally disappeared down the road, Mary collapsed. Literally, her legs gave out and she would have fallen if Aunt Betty hadn't caught her. Augustus ran to help, taking her in his arms. "It's okay. It's over. He's gone. But he'll come back," Mary whispered, clinging to Augustus's shirt. "And when he returns, he'll take Anna Beatrice. The law is on his side. He's the father." Augustus looked down, saw the terror and desperation in those honey-brown eyes, and something inside him crystallized. A decision that had been forming for weeks but that he hadn't had the courage to face. "There's a way," he said slowly. "One that would give you complete protection. One that would make Anna Beatrice legally untouchable by Raphael." Mary stared at him, confused. What way? Augustus took a deep breath. Marriage. If we marry, I would legally adopt her. Raphael would have no more rights. The silence that followed was absolute. Even Aunt Bethy was speechless. You're asking me to marry you? Mary finally managed to say, her voice barely above a whisper. Not the way I should, Augustus admitted. It's not romantic or planned. But it's practical. And it would protect both of you. But you don't love me, Mary said, her voice breaking. You still love your wife. And I would be nothing but a convenience. The words hit Augustus like a punch. They were true. He still loved Elizabeth, always would. But his feelings for Mary, when had they become more than compassion? Mary, he began, but she interrupted him. No. Don't do this out of pity or obligation. She pulled away from him, wiping tears. I'll find another solution. Maybe I can run, go to another state. And live running forever. Augustus asked. Is that what you want for Anna Beatrice? A life of constant fear, always looking over your shoulder? Mary sobbed, knowing he was right. Augustus took a step toward her. I'm not offering this just out of obligation. I've learned to care about you, about both of you. These last months, this house has come back to life. And that's because of you. Caring isn't loving, she whispered. No, Augustus agreed. But it's a beginning. And I've had love once in my life. I know what it is. Maybe we can build something different. Something based on respect, on friendship. It wouldn't be so bad, would it? Mary looked at him for a long moment. And if I say no, what will you do? I'll protect you any way I can. But it will be harder. And I have no guarantees of success. Augustus held her hands in his. Mary, I'm not asking you to love me. I'm asking you to let me protect you. Protect Anna Beatrice. And who knows, with time, he left the sentence unfinished, but the meaning was clear. Mary closed her eyes, tears still streaming. When she opened them again, there was a determination in them that hadn't been there before. All right, she said. I'll marry you. Aunt Bethy let out a sigh of relief. Thank the Lord. I'll notify Father Thomas immediately. But Augustus didn't release Mary's hands. Are you sure? Because once we do this, there's no going back. I'm sure, she responded, though her voice trembled. For Anna Beatrice. For her, I would do anything. Augustus nodded, trying to ignore the pang of pain at realizing she was doing this only for her daughter, not for him. But what else could he expect? They'd known each other for less than 3 months, and he himself had admitted he didn't love her, not the way he'd loved Elizabeth. But maybe with time, that would change. For both of them. The wedding preparations were quick and discreet. Father Thomas agreed to perform the ceremony within a week at the Manor's chapel. It would be something simple, with only the Manor's residents as witnesses. It's not the wedding every girl dreams of, Mary said one night as they dined. I can do better if you want, Augustus offered. A bigger ceremony, a special dress. No. She cut him off gently. I don't want pretense. This is already difficult enough without adding theater. Augustus agreed, though the words hurt. Difficult. That's how she saw marrying him. But there were moments, small moments, that suggested maybe it could be more. Like when he found her in the library, leafing through Elizabeth's books. May I look at them? She asked timidly. Or would you prefer I not touch her things? You may, Augustus responded. Elizabeth would love knowing someone is using these books again. And when they sat together, he reading tobacco contracts while she read poetry, there was a peace between them, a comfortable companionship. Or when Anna Beatrice cried one night and Augustus, awake anyway, went to help. He found Mary, exhausted, trying to calm the baby. Let me try, he offered. He took Anna Beatrice, gently rocking her, singing an old lullaby that Elizabeth used to sing to Peter Augustus. The girl calmed almost immediately, falling asleep in his arms. "You're natural with her," Mary said, surprised and touched. "I had practice," Augustus responded softly. "With my son." Mary touched his arm. "He would be proud of you. Of the man you are." It was a small moment but significant. And when their eyes met, something passed between them. Not love yet, no. But connection. Understanding. Possibility. The news of the impending marriage spread, of course, and brought varied reactions. Baron Ashford appeared, furious. "This is an outrage, Colonel. Marrying a woman of questionable reputation." "My fiancée," Augustus corrected coldly, "is an honorable woman who was deceived by a scoundrel. And I suggest you choose your words more carefully when referring to the future Mrs. Wakefield." The Baron left indignant, swearing Augustus would regret it. Father Thomas, on the other hand, was entirely supportive. "You're doing the right thing, my son. And who knows, maybe you'll find love where you least expect it." Some neighbors cut off relations. Others, surprisingly, offered discreet support. Society was divided. And Rafael Mendez disappeared from the township 2 days before the wedding. But Caleb discovered through his contacts that he'd gone to Richmond looking for a lawyer. The threat hadn't disappeared, just been postponed. On the night before the wedding, Augustus stayed up late in his chambers. He looked at Elizabeth's portrait above the fireplace. She was beautiful in the painting, smiling, eternally young and full of life. "I hope you understand," he whispered to the image. "I'm not replacing you. I never could. But I need to keep living. Maybe I can help this young woman and this child. Maybe I can do some good." There was no answer, of course. But Augustus swore he saw the smile in the portrait soften, as if Elizabeth were giving her blessing. On the morning of the wedding, Augustus wore his best suit. Aunt Bethy had adapted one of Elizabeth's walking dresses for Mary, a light blue dress that perfectly matched her eyes. The chapel was decorated simply with wildflowers. The pews were filled with plantation workers, all dressed in their best clothes. Even Father Thomas, now over 90 years old, had made a point of being present. "It's my last Christmas," the old vicar had said to Augustus. "And there's no better place to spend it than here, celebrating 25 years of miracles." When Mary entered carrying Anna Beatrice in her arms, Augustus felt his heart tighten. She was beautiful, but also frightened. Her eyes sought his across the chapel, seeking reassurance. Augustus smiled, nodded. It would be all right. They would make it work. Father Thomas conducted the ceremony with dignity and affection. When it came time for vows, both Augustus and Mary spoke with clear voices, though emotional. "Do you take Mary Carson as your lawful wife, to love and respect her in sickness and in health, in joy and in sorrow, for the rest of your life?" "I do," Augustus said. It was true. Maybe he didn't love her yet, but he respected her and was committed to building something with her. "Do you take Augustus Wakefield as your lawful husband, to love and respect him in sickness and in health, in joy and in sorrow, for the rest of your life?" "I do," Mary whispered, looking at Anna Beatrice before looking at Augustus. And he understood. She was accepting for her daughter. But she was accepting. When Father Thomas declared them husband and wife, there were sincere applause from those present. Aunt Bethy cried openly. Caleb smiled broadly. Augustus leaned down and softly kissed Mary's cheek. It wasn't a kiss of passion but of promise, of commitment. "Welcome to the Wakefield family," he whispered. Mary smiled. And for the first time since they'd met, it was a smile without shadows of fear. "Thank you for everything." The celebration was modest but joyful. Aunt Bethy had prepared a feast with the plantation's resources: roasted pig, rice, beans, cornbread, pumpkin preserves and guava paste. There was music with some workers playing fiddle and accordion. Augustus and Mary opened the dance, a traditional movement but necessary. He held her respectfully, maintaining appropriate distance. "I never danced much," she confessed. "You're doing perfectly," he assured her. When the night ended and the guests had left or retired, came the awkward moment. Mary looked at the stairs, then at Augustus. "I've prepared the guest room for me and Anna Beatrice," she said quickly. "If you prefer I continue there." "No," Augustus said gently. "You're my wife now. Your chambers should be appropriate. The master bedroom was Elizabeth's, but it's also yours by right now. But it has 2 connected rooms," he explained. "You and Anna Beatrice can stay in the main bedroom. I'll stay in the annex. We'll be close, but you'll have privacy. When and if you want to change that, it will be your decision." Mary looked at him with gratitude and relief. "Thank you for understanding. We said vows today," Augustus responded. "But we both know that trust and true intimacy take time to build. I have time. We have time." That night, for the first time in 4 years, the master bedroom of Wakefield Manor had a woman sleeping in it. And Augustus, lying in the annex, heard the soft cry of Anna Beatrice being calmed by Mary's melodious voice singing a lullaby. And for the first time in 4 years, he didn't feel completely alone. The marriage was done. The future, uncertain but full of possibilities, awaited. Augustus and Mary were now husband and wife. But could a marriage of convenience transform into true love? And would Rafael Mendez accept defeat? In the next episode, we'll follow the first months of marriage, the birth of new feelings, and the final confrontation with the past. Stay with us on Tales of Time. Don't forget to leave your like and subscribe to the channel. The first months of marriage were a delicate dance of approach and retreat. Augustus and Mary inhabited the same house, shared meals, jointly administered the plantation, but still maintained a careful distance, like 2 wounded animals learning to trust again. Mary gradually assumed the roles of Lady of Wakefield Manor. She supervised the house, guided the household servants, continued the school for children. She did everything with dedication and competence, but Augustus noticed she always waited for his approval before making major decisions. "You don't need to ask my permission for everything," he said one morning after she'd asked if she could reorganize the pantry. "You're the lady of this house now. Your word carries as much weight as mine." Mary looked at him with surprise. "But these were Elizabeth's things. I don't want to be disrespectful." "Elizabeth isn't here anymore," Augustus said gently. "And she would have loved knowing someone is caring for her house with such dedication. Make whatever changes you think necessary. This is your home as much as it was hers." It was a small moment but significant. Mary began putting her own mark on the plantation, organizing, modernizing, bringing new energy to spaces that had been stagnant for years. Anna Beatrice thrived, growing strong and healthy. At 3 months she already smiled at everyone, especially at Augustus. The colonel found himself spending more and more time with the girl, holding her while Mary prepared lessons, making her laugh with funny faces, singing lullabies when she had trouble sleeping. "You're a natural father," Mary commented one night, watching Augustus rock Anna Beatrice to sleep. "I was a father before," he responded, but without the lacerating pain that used to accompany mentions of Peter Augustus. The grief was still there, always would be. But it was no longer an open wound. It had become a scar he'd learned to carry. It was in April, during the feast of St. George that the plantation traditionally celebrated, that something changed between them. The feast was a community event with workers, nearby neighbors, and their families gathered to celebrate. There was abundant food, music, dancing. Mary wore a new dress, the first Augustus had specially made for her, turquoise fabric that enhanced her eyes. She looked stunning when she descended the stairs. "You look beautiful," he said when he saw her. And it wasn't just courtesy, he was genuinely dazzled. Mary blushed. "Thank you. The dress is wonderful." During the party, while watching Mary interact with workers and their families, conversing naturally with everyone, holding babies, laughing with children, Augustus felt something shift in his chest. She had become part of the plantation, part of the community. And more than that, she had become part of him. When the music played and he invited her to dance, this time it wasn't out of obligation. It was because he wanted to have her in his arms. "You're different tonight," Mary observed as they danced, their bodies closer than they'd been since the wedding. "Different how?" Augustus asked. "I don't know." "Lighter. As if you're really here, not just going through the motions." He smiled. "Maybe I am. For the first time in a long time." Their eyes met and held. And in that moment, under the stars, with music enveloping them, Augustus leaned down and kissed his wife. Not a chaste kiss on the cheek like at the wedding, but a real kiss, gentle, questioning, but real. Mary hesitated for only a second before responding, her lips moving against his with a tenderness that made Augustus's heart race. When they separated, both were breathless. "Augustus," she began. "I'm sorry if I was hasty," he said quickly. "I know our agreement was." "Don't apologize," she interrupted, touching his face. "I wanted it too." It was the beginning, slow, careful, but definitely the beginning of something deeper. In the following weeks, the physical distance between them gradually diminished. Augustus began dining later so he could spend time with Mary after she put Anna Beatrice to sleep. They talked for hours about everything, about the plantation, about books, about their lives before they met. Mary told stories of her childhood with her blacksmith father, the mischief she got into, the dreams she had. Augustus shared memories of Elizabeth without the crushing weight of guilt. He could now remember her fondly without feeling he was betraying her memory by allowing himself to be happy again. "You loved her very much," Mary said one night. "I did," Augustus agreed. "And a part of me always will. But I've learned the human heart has infinite capacity. Loving Elizabeth doesn't prevent me from developing feelings for someone else." Mary looked at him with shining eyes. "And have you been developing feelings?" Augustus took her hand. "I have. For you. Not in the same way I felt for Elizabeth. Each love is unique. But it's real, it's true, and it grows more each day." "Me too," she whispered. "I started marrying you out of gratitude, out of necessity. But now when you smile, my heart races. When you enter a room, everything becomes brighter. I think I'm falling in love with you." It was Augustus who closed the distance this time, kissing her with a passion that had been contained for months. And when they finally separated, gasping, he whispered, "The annex room is getting very lonely." Mary blushed but smiled. "Perhaps it's time for changes." So that night, 4 months after the wedding, Augustus and Mary finally became husband and wife in every sense. And it was different from everything Augustus had known, not less special, just different. Where Elizabeth had been fire, Mary was gentle warmth. Where there had been tempestuous passion, now there was deep tenderness. And in the morning, waking with Mary in his arms, Anna Beatrice sleeping in the cradle beside them, Augustus felt complete in a way he hadn't imagined possible. Again. May brought unexpected news. Mary began feeling nauseous in the mornings. Aunt Bethy, with her experienced eye, immediately recognized the signs. "You're expecting, ma'am," she announced with a wide smile. "Going to give little Anna a brother or sister." Mary was in shock for a moment, then tears streamed down her face. "But so soon." "God has his own plans," Aunt Bethy said wisely. "And this child comes from love, not sadness. It will be a blessing." When Mary told Augustus, he picked her up in his arms and spun around, laughing, something he hadn't done since before Elizabeth's death. "A child," he exclaimed. "Our child." "Or daughter," Mary corrected, but she was laughing too. Augustus stopped, becoming serious. "Are you happy? I know Anna Beatrice is still small and with the school. I'm happy, she assured him. Scared, but happy. Very happy. The news brought renewed joy to the plantation. But it also brought Rafael Mendez back. He appeared in June, this time with a lawyer and an officer of the court. Caleb alerted Augustus immediately when he saw them approaching. Colonel, the Portuguese is back. And he brings legal authority this time. Augustus met them on the porch. Rafael was better dressed now, clearly financed by someone. The lawyer was a thin man with small glasses carrying a briefcase of documents. The court officer looked uncomfortable. Colonel Wakefield, said the lawyer with a nasal voice. I am Dr. Sebastian Foster, representing Mr. Rafael Mendez in the matter of custody of his daughter, Ana Beatriz Mendez. Ana Beatriz Wakefield, Augustus corrected coldly. She was legally adopted by me when I married her mother. Ah yes. About that. The lawyer opened his briefcase. My client contests the legality of that adoption. He never renounced parental rights. The adoption was done without his consent. He abandoned the child before she was even born, Augustus responded. That constitutes legal abandonment. That's debatable. And my client is prepared to take this case to court. The lawyer smiled thinly. Unless, of course, an agreement is reached. Agreement? Augustus repeated with disdain. You want money. My client deserves compensation for the years he'll miss with his daughter, the lawyer said shamelessly. Rafael had remained quiet until then, but now he spoke. I see your wife is pregnant, Colonel. Congratulations. Soon you'll have your own heir. You won't need my daughter anymore. For a reasonable amount, I'll renounce all rights to her. Let's say, $5,000. It was a fortune, enough money for Rafael to live comfortably for years. No, Augustus said simply. Rafael blinked. No. No. I won't pay a penny to a blackmailing scoundrel. And I won't allow you to use this child as currency. Augustus turned to the court officer. If you want to take this to court, do it. I have the best lawyer in Richmond on retainer. And I have witnesses, dozens of them ready to testify about Mr. Mendez's true character. This is, the lawyer began, but Augustus cut him off. Furthermore, Augustus continued, his voice taking on a dangerous tone, I discovered interesting things about your activities, Mr. Mendez. About money you owe in Baltimore, about stolen goods, about a wife and child you abandoned in Portugal. Would you really like to open that box of secrets in a public courtroom? Rafael paled. You're bluffing. Test me, Augustus challenged. Please, test me. I would love to see your reputation publicly destroyed. It was true. Partially. Augustus had investigated Rafael through contacts in Richmond and Baltimore. He didn't have solid proof of everything he claimed, but he had enough to cause serious problems. The lawyer nervously thumbed through his documents, realizing the case wasn't as simple as Rafael had made it seem. Mr. Mendez, perhaps we should reconsider. No, Rafael exploded. This child is mine. I have rights. Rights? Mary's voice echoed from the doorway. She stood there, Ana Beatriz in her arms and Aunt Bethy at her side. What rights? The rights of a man who called me a liar when I said I was pregnant. Of a man who fled like a coward. Of a man who reappears only when he sees opportunity for profit. She descended the steps, firm despite her slightly rounded belly. Ana Beatriz isn't merchandise, Rafael. She's a person, a child who deserves love, stability, family, things you could never give. And he can. Rafael spat, pointing at Augustus. A bitter widower who married you out of pity. Not out of pity, Mary said, looking at Augustus with love in her eyes. Out of kindness first, perhaps. But now? Now out of love. True love, something you'll never understand. Rafael opened his mouth to respond, but the court officer interrupted him. "Mr. Mendez, as a representative of the law, I must inform you that without solid evidence of negligence or misconduct by the Wakefields, it will be extremely difficult to contest this adoption. The child is clearly well cared for, in a stable home, with a family who loves her." He looked at Augustus and Mary. "And courts generally favor the mother in custody matters, especially when she's in legitimate marriage." The lawyer sighed, closing his briefcase. "Mr. Mendez, I strongly advise abandoning this case. The legal costs will be high and chances of success minimal." Raphael looked around, at Augustus standing protectively beside Mary, at Anna Beatrice content in her mother's arms, at the plantation workers who had gathered in silent support of their employers. He was surrounded, defeated. "This isn't over yet," he said, but his voice lacked conviction. "Yes, it is," Augustus responded with finality. "Leave, Mendez. And don't come back. If you appear here again, I won't be responsible for my actions." Raphael departed, followed by the lawyer and officer. But at the plantation gate he turned one last time. "You'll regret this," he shouted, but his words were lost in the wind, empty of power. Augustus embraced Mary and Anna Beatrice, the three figures with Aunt Bethy joining them. "It's over," he whispered. "It's truly over." It was true. Rafael Mendez disappeared after that day, his blackmail attempt frustrated. Later rumors suggested he'd fled to Mexico, escaping creditors and authorities. Mary's pregnancy proceeded calmly. Unlike Anna Beatrice's birth, this time she had all the support, Aunt Bethy preparing herbal teas, Augustus attending to every whim, a doctor from Richmond making regular visits. In January 1857, exactly 1 year after the Christmas when everything began, Mary went into labor. This time it was in the comfort of the master bedroom, with Aunt Bethy as midwife and Augustus holding Mary's hand, supporting her through each contraction. "You can do it," he encouraged. "You're strong. You're amazing." And when the baby finally emerged with a robust cry, Aunt Bethy announced through tears, "It's a boy. A healthy, strong boy." Augustus looked at his son, and felt tears stream down his face. It was different from when Peter Augustus was born, but no less profound. This boy represented not replacement but renewal. Not forgetting but continuity. "Michael," Mary said, exhausted but radiant. "Let's call him Michael Augustus." "It's a beautiful name," Augustus agreed, kissing her forehead. "Perfect." Michael was a vigorous baby with dark hair and eyes that promised to be brown like his father's. Anna Beatrice, now a year old, looked fascinated at her little brother, touching his tiny fingers with childish curiosity. Wakefield Manor exploded in celebration. There was finally a Wakefield heir again, born of love and hope. But Mary and Augustus didn't stop at Michael. 2 years later, in 1859, a girl was born. The delivery was more difficult this time. Mary suffered for long hours and there were moments when Augustus feared losing her, memories of Elizabeth flooding him with panic. But Aunt Bethy, with her experience and knowledge of herbs, guided mother and baby through the crisis. When the girl was finally born, small but perfect, Mary looked at Augustus with tired but happy eyes. "Elizabeth," she said softly. "Let's call her Elizabeth in honor of your first wife." Augustus felt a knot in his throat. "Are you sure?" "You don't have to." "I'm sure. She made you the man you are. Without her, you wouldn't have been able to save me, to save us. She deserves to be honored. And our daughter will carry her name with pride." It was a gesture of generosity and understanding that completely sealed Augustus's love for Mary. This woman, who could have felt jealousy or resentment of Elizabeth's memory, chose to honor her. Elizabeth Wakefield was delicate and beautiful, with her mother's honey-brown eyes and her father's dark hair. She would become the family's artist, always drawing and painting. The years that followed were of joy and prosperity. Wakefield Manor flourished under the joint administration of Augustus and Mary. She modernized the house, expanded the school, established an infirmary for sick workers. Augustus, inspired by her, gradually began freeing enslaved people, offering them contracts as free workers. "It's the future," he explained to Baron Ashford, who came to protest this madness. "Slavery's days are numbered. I want to be on the right side of history." The Baron left indignant, but Augustus didn't care. He had his family, his plantation, his purpose. The opinions of hypocrites didn't matter. Anna Beatrice grew up knowing the truth about her origins. Mary told her when she was 6, adapting the story for her age. "So Papa Augustus chose me?" the girl asked, processing the information. "He chose," Mary confirmed. "He could have just helped me and moved on. But he chose us. Chose to be your father not because he had to, but because he wanted to." Anna Beatrice ran to Augustus, who was working in his office. "Papa." He picked her up. "Yes, my little one. Mama told me about how you saved us. Both of us. And I want to say thank you for choosing me." Augustus hugged her tightly, tears in his eyes. "Thank you, little one, for giving me reason to live again." The 3 children grew up loved and happy. Anna Beatrice was the oldest, responsible and kind. Michael was adventurous and robust, always exploring. Elizabeth was a dreamer and artistic, lost in her own imaginative worlds. And Augustus and Mary aged together, their love deepening with each year. It wasn't the same love Augustus had felt for Elizabeth. It was different, built not just on passion but on partnership, mutual respect, deep friendship. One night, 10 years after that first Christmas, Augustus and Mary sat on the porch watching the stars. "Happy?" he asked, holding her hand. "More than I imagined possible," she responded. 10 years ago I was dying in an abandoned house, alone and terrified. Now I have you, our children, this wonderful life. I should be thanking you," Augustus said. 10 years ago I was dead inside, just existing. You brought me back to life." Mary rested her head on his shoulder. "We saved each other." "We did," he agreed, kissing her hair. As Wakefield Manor slept around them, their 3 children safe in their beds, Augustus Wakefield allowed himself to recognize the complete truth. He had been blessed twice in life with true love. And this time, he promised, he wouldn't waste a single moment. December 1880. 25 years had passed since that stormy Christmas night that had changed everything. Augustus Wakefield was now 70 years old, his hair completely white, face furrowed by wrinkles that came from decades of smiles more than worries. He was still a vigorous man, but the years were taking their toll. His movements were slower, his back occasionally ached, and he needed glasses to read the plantation's account books. Mary, at 43, had aged gracefully. Her brown hair had silver strands. Her face showed expression lines around eyes and mouth, marks of a life of laughter and joy. She was still beautiful, and Augustus still found himself watching her cross a room, his heart racing as it had 25 years ago. Wakefield Manor had prospered beyond any expectation. Under the joint administration of Augustus and Mary, it had become a model of progress and humanity. The school Mary founded now had its own building with 2 full-time teachers, serving more than 50 children. The infirmary had saved countless lives during epidemics that occasionally swept the valley. And most significantly, the plantation no longer had enslaved people. Augustus had begun the gradual freeing process years ago, and in 1871, even before the laws changed, he'd freed all remaining captives, offering fair work contracts to those who wished to stay. Most stayed, now as free workers with wages, their own houses, and restored dignity. "You were visionary, sir," the new county judge had commented on a recent visit. "Abolition will come, it's inevitable. And when it does, this plantation will have already adapted." Aunt Bethy had passed away in 1878 at 92 years old, sleeping peacefully in her bed. Her funeral was one of the largest the valley had ever seen, with hundreds of people, former enslaved people, free workers, neighboring farmers, coming to pay their last respects to the woman who had touched so many lives. Caleb, now 75 years old, still worked at the plantation, though at a slower pace. His son, also named Caleb, had assumed many of his responsibilities, becoming chief overseer. It was a natural transition, a continuity that pleased the old worker. But Augustus and Mary's true pride was their children. Anna Beatrice was 25 years old, a young woman of serene beauty and deep kindness. At 16, when Mary told her the complete details of her birth, about Raphael, about the rejection, about the night at the mill house, she processed everything with surprising maturity. "So Papa saved me twice," she'd said, tears in her eyes. "Once when I was born and once when he legally adopted me, protecting me from Raphael." 3 times, Mary had corrected. "Because he saves you every day with his love." Anna Beatrice had married 2 years earlier to Robert Adams, a young abolitionist lawyer who'd come to the plantation to study the free labor system as a model for a thesis. It had been love at first sight. Robert, son of Richmond merchants, was idealistic and passionate about social justice. Perfect for Anna Beatrice, who had inherited her mother's generous heart. They had a 1-year-old daughter, Clara, who was her grandparents' joy. The girl had Mary and Anna Beatrice's honey brown eyes, perpetuating that striking characteristic through generations. Michael, at 23, had become a talented plantation administrator. He'd studied modern agriculture in Richmond, returning with revolutionary ideas about crop rotation, irrigation, and tobacco processing. Under his direction, Wakefield Manor's production had doubled, but without increasing workers' load. In fact, he'd reduced hours through more efficient methods. Tall and strong like his father, Michael had an adventurous spirit but also an acute sense of responsibility. He'd married the previous year to Helen, daughter of a neighboring farmer, one of the few families that had maintained good relations with the Wakefields despite their progressive policies. Helen was 6 months pregnant, expecting her first child in March. Elizabeth, at 21, was the family's artist. Delicate and dreamy, she spent entire days painting valley landscapes, family portraits, daily plantation scenes. Her works had begun gaining recognition in Richmond and Washington. A gallery owner from Washington had offered her a solo exhibition, something extraordinary for a woman artist at that time. "You have true talent," Augustus had said upon seeing her paintings exhibited in the visiting room. "Your gift will touch many lives." Elizabeth had hugged him. "I learned from the best teacher. You, Papa. You taught me to see beauty in everything, even simple things." The 3 children had distinct personalities but shared fundamental values: kindness, justice, compassion. Values Augustus and Mary had worked tirelessly to instill. It was Christmas Eve 1880, exactly 25 years since the night that had changed everything. The entire family was gathered at Wakefield Manor. Anna Beatrice and Robert with little Clara, Michael and Helen, Elizabeth, plus distant cousins, close friends, and practically the entire plantation population. Mary had organized a magnificent celebration. The main house was decorated with pine branches, tropical flowers, and colored paper lanterns. The smell of delicious food came from the kitchen: roasted turkey, stuffing, rice with raisins, sweets of all kinds. It would be a party to remember. But before the celebration, Augustus had asked for a private moment with the nuclear family, Mary and the 3 children. They gathered in the library, his favorite room with its book-lined walls and the large window overlooking the tobacco fields. 25 years ago today, Augustus began, his voice emotional. "I was a man dead inside. I existed but didn't live. I had a prosperous plantation but was empty. And then, on a stormy night, God gave me a second chance." He looked at Mary, who had tears in her eyes. "I found a courageous young woman and her newborn daughter. And by saving them, they saved me. They gave me reason to live again." He turned to Anna Beatrice. "You are my first daughter of this new life. And though we don't share blood, you're my daughter in every sense that matters. You taught me that love knows no boundaries of biology, that family is built with the heart. Anna Beatrice cried openly now, as did Mary. Michael, Augustus continued, you were the confirmation that life continues, that we can honor the past while embracing the future. You remind me every day of the strength that comes from moving forward. Michael nodded, his eyes shining. And Elizabeth, my youngest, named in honor of the woman I loved first. You represent the bridge between two loves, two lives. And your existence proves the human heart can contain multitudes without diminishing any. Elizabeth hid her face in her hands, sobbing. What I want to say, Augustus said, his voice breaking, is thank you. Thank you for being who you are. Thank you for giving me the joy of being a father again. Thank you for filling this house with life and love. Mary stood and embraced her husband, and the 3 children surrounded him, forming a tight circle of love and tears. When they finally separated, all laughing through tears, Michael cleared his throat. We also have something to say, Papa, Mama. Helen, Michael's wife, joined them, smiling shyly. We wanted to tell you later, but this seems like the right moment. The baby we're expecting, we're going to name him Augustus. Augustus Peter, if it's a boy. In honor of you, Papa, and the brother you lost. Augustus was speechless. He looked at Mary, who was also too moved to speak. And if it's a girl, Helen added, it will be Leonora Elizabeth. For your 2 great loves. It was too much for Augustus. The man who had remained firm through wars, epidemics, and devastating losses collapsed into a chair, crying like he hadn't cried in years. They were tears of pure joy, of gratitude, of overflowing love. You honor me too much, he finally managed to say. No more than you've honored all of us, Anna Beatrice responded. The Christmas celebration that night was unforgettable. The main house was filled with people, plantation workers and their families, friends from Richmond and Washington, practically the entire local community. Even Father Thomas, now over 90 years old, had made a point of being present. It's my last Christmas feast, the old vicar had said to Augustus. And there's no better place to spend it than here, celebrating 25 years of miracles. During dinner, Augustus was called to make a toast. He stood with difficulty, leaning on the table, and raised his glass. Friends, family, beloved people. 25 years ago, this very night, my life changed completely. I was a broken man, living in shadows, when divine providence led me to an abandoned house where I found 2 lives that needed saving. He looked at Mary and Anna Beatrice. I thought I was saving them. But the truth is they saved me. They gave me purpose, love, family. They taught me that our greatest tragedies can transform into our greatest blessings if we have the courage to open our hearts. His voice grew stronger. This plantation isn't just land and tobacco. It's community, it's family. It's proof that when we treat people with dignity and love, everyone prospers. There were murmurs of approval around the room. And to my family, Mary, my love, my companion, my savior. Anna Beatrice, Michael, Elizabeth, you are my legacy. Not just this plantation or these lands, but the values you carry, the kindness you demonstrate, the difference you'll make in the world. He raised his glass higher. I toast to family. I toast to love that transcends blood and circumstance. I toast to second chances. I toast to hope that we must never abandon, no matter how dark the night. And I toast to this sacred date that 25 years ago gave me everything that made life worth living. To family, everyone echoed, raising their glasses. To hope. To love. The music began soon after, fiddles, guitars, accordions. People danced, sang, celebrated late into the night. Children ran through corridors, adults conversed animatedly. It was life in its fullest and most vibrant form. Late in the night, when most guests had already left or retired, Augustus and Mary slowly climbed the stairs to their chambers. Augustus's knees complained but his heart was light. They prepared for sleep with the familiarity of decades of shared routine. When they finally lay down, Mary snuggled against Augustus's chest, her favorite place in all the world. "Happy?" he asked, as he had countless times over the years. "More than words can express," she responded. "I feel complete," Augustus said simply. "For the first time since, well, perhaps for the first time in my life, I feel completely complete." Mary lifted her head to look at him. "Don't you miss Elizabeth?" "I'm not jealous, I promise. Just curious." Augustus thought carefully before responding. "I miss her, yes. I always will. She was my first love, mother of my first son. But I learned that the human heart is extraordinary. I can love Elizabeth's memory without diminishing at all the love I feel for you. They're different loves, not better or worse, just different. And both are precious. And Peter Augustus? I think of him often. I imagine what he would be like now, what kind of man he would have become. But I also know that Michael, Anna Beatrice, and Elizabeth wouldn't be here if Peter had lived. It's strange to think that way, but maybe everything happened as it should." He kissed the top of her head. "I wouldn't have met you. I wouldn't have this family. And I can't imagine a world without you." They lay in silence for a moment, just listening to each other breathe, the distant sound of the party dying down below. "Augustus," Mary finally said. "Thank you. For that night 25 years ago. For not having ridden past the mill house. For having stopped, investigated, saved our lives. For having given us a home, a family, love. For everything." Augustus felt tears prick at his eyes. "Thank you for being strong enough to survive. For having accepted my awkward proposal of marriage. For having loved me despite everything. For having given me these wonderful years." They kissed, a long kiss that contained 25 years of love, trust, and companionship. 8 years later, May 1888. Augustus was 78 now, more fragile but still lucid and active. Mary, at 51, cared for him with devotion, but he insisted on remaining involved in plantation administration. It was one May morning that Michael burst into the office, holding a newspaper, his face radiant. "Papa, Mama, it happened. President Lincoln's proclamation has been ratified. Slavery is over. Officially over." Augustus took the newspaper with trembling hands. There it was in black and white. The 13th Amendment. Slavery was abolished throughout the United States. Tears streamed down Augustus's wrinkled face. Thank God. Finally. Finally justice. Mary also embraced him, crying. "You were ahead of your time. You freed your enslaved people years ago. But now it's law." "It's law," Augustus said. "Now everyone is free. The entire nation." They celebrated discreetly, aware that for many formerly enslaved people on other plantations, freedom would come without resources, without land, without support. But it was a beginning. It was progress. Augustus called all the plantation workers, those who'd been freed by him years before, and their children and grandchildren born free. "Today," he said, his voice weak but firm, "America has finally caught up with what this plantation has known for years, that all men are born free and equal. That dignity isn't privilege, it's right. I'm proud to have lived to see this day." There was applause, tears, celebration. It was one of Augustus's last great moments. December 1890. The last Christmas. Augustus was ill, everyone knew. At 80 years old, his body was finally yielding to the weight of years. But he'd insisted on being present for Christmas, as he had been every year since that first transformative one 35 years ago. The house was full, 3 children, 4 grandchildren, Clara, Augustus Peter, Leonora Elizabeth, and newborn Peter, and a 5th on the way. Elizabeth had finally married a writer from Richmond who appreciated her art and soul. They made a point of taking Augustus to the main hall where the entire family was gathered. He was in a wheelchair Michael had built, covered with blankets, but smiling. 35 years, he said, his voice weak. 35 Christmases since that night. Anna Beatrice, now 35, knelt beside his chair. And thanks to you, Papa, we're all here. Your children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren to come. All because of your kindness that night. Augustus touched her face. Not kindness. Love. I learned that love, true love, is the only thing that truly matters. And I've been blessed with so much of it. Later that night, when everyone had retired, Mary sat beside Augustus's bed. Tired? She asked softly. Very, he admitted. But happy. So happy, Mary. You gave me a life beyond my wildest dreams. And you gave me everything, she responded, holding his hand. A home, children, love, dignity. Everything. Augustus smiled. When the time comes, and I know it's near, I want you to know I have no regrets. None. I lived 2 full lives. One with Elizabeth, another with you. I loved deeply twice. I had 4 wonderful children. I saw my values spread through a new generation. What more could a man ask? Don't talk like that, Mary asked, tears streaming. We still have time. We have all the time we need, Augustus said. Because love doesn't end with death. It continues in our children, our grandchildren, in the legacy we leave, in the difference we made. He passed away peacefully 2 weeks later, in January 1891, surrounded by the entire family. His last words were to Mary, "Thank you for the dance." The funeral was immense. Hundreds of people attended, plantation workers, neighboring farmers, formerly enslaved people from other properties who heard about the man who'd freed his people years before the law. Friends from 3 generations. Anna Beatrice, Michael, and Elizabeth carried the casket along with Robert, young Caleb, and a grandson already adolescent. He was buried beside the first Elizabeth. At peace, finally. Epilogue. December 1900. Mary was 63 now, hair completely white but still strong and lucid. Wakefield Manor was under Michael's administration, but she remained involved, especially with the school, which now had 3 teachers and served almost 100 children. It was Christmas Eve, 45 years since that transformative night. The entire family was gathered, children, grandchildren, great-grandchildren. The house overflowed with life. Anna Beatrice, now 45, brought a surprise. "Mama, we want to show you something." They led Mary to the library where a new painting had been installed. It was a painting by Elizabeth, the daughter artist, depicting that first night, young Augustus holding a baby wrapped in rags, the storm in the background, but divine light illuminating the scene. "It's beautiful," Mary whispered. "It's our story," Anna Beatrice said. "The story of how love can arise from despair, how kindness can transform everything, how one night can change the course of so many lives." Mary looked around the room, her 3 children, 8 grandchildren, 2 great-grandchildren. All that life, all that love, everything had begun on a stormy night when a broken man chose to stop, investigate, save. "Your father," she said, "once told me that by saving me and Anna Beatrice, we saved him too. And he was right. We all saved each other. That's what love does. It saves us, transforms us, makes us more than we were." "And his legacy continues," Michael said. "The plantation, the school, the values you and Papa taught us, everything continues." Mary smiled, tears in her eyes. "Then it was worth it. All the suffering, all the fear, it was worth it." That night, as the family celebrated, Mary stepped out onto the porch. She looked at the stars, the same stars that had shone 45 years ago. "Thank you," she whispered to the sky, to Augustus, to God, to fate, to whatever force had conspired to bring that night into existence. "Thank you for the storm. Thank you for the man who stopped to investigate. Thank you for every moment since then. And as Wakefield Manor shone with light and laughter behind her, Mary Wakefield knew that some stories never really end. They just continue from generation to generation, eternally, as love always does. This was the story of Colonel Augustus Wakefield and Mary, a story of redemption, second chances, and love that transcends circumstances. May it remind us that even in the darkest nights, hope can shine. Even when we're broken, we can be mended. And that true, selfless love has the power to transform not just individual lives but entire generations. Thank you for joining this journey on Tales of Time. If this story touched your heart, leave your like, subscribe to the channel, and share it with someone who needs to be reminded of the transforming power of love. Until the next story.